I am so grateful that you joined us this evening because Sir Charles was in the first season of the Keynote.
Right.
I was in the second season of the Keynote.
Cool.
So what I would encourage you all to do as you're joining, I would encourage you all to tell a little bird so that people can join in.
All right.
I just told a little bird so that people can join in.
I'm going to see if I can click over. I'm going to take this URL and click over and paste it on my page and tell people to join in now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah. Live. Right
Live. Now. The cast. We are here.
From
we
the
are here. What I enjoy about this is that we have a season 1 expert on the call, and we have a season 2 expert on the call.
Absolutely.
So, and maybe, so the Keynote may have been a little different from season 1 to season 2. So
I wonder, I don't know. In fact, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, make sure you tell a little bird, because we will have some of our other cast members will probably join in.
Yep.
And we never know. The executive producer, Delatoro McNeil, he may join in himself.
Yeah, I just tagged him, and I tagged some folks. And
good. And you're tell a little bird?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's really key, what that really means, but I'm sharing the message.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay,
that
cool.
is awesome.
Now, let me come back. So, I bet now. Here we go. Yes. So anyway, it was great. Go ahead. Yeah. You start. You facilitate.
No, I'm going to ask you, Sir Charles, to tell us about your experience taping the reality show, The Keynote.
Well, without spilling the beans, because I know we've got a gag order, I would just say that it was a wonderful experience. And I know that sounds cliche, but I don't care. It really was a wonderful experience because, to me, it was a power-packed opportunity to learn from the 32nd top speaker in the world. And even though I know many things about the speaking business because I've been a part of it for a long time, I still learn things that I did not know. And he, being Delatoro McNeil, confirmed things that I may have forgotten, and he reconfirmed things that I may have been unsure of. So it was a great learning opportunity. Now, the challenges and all the things we did, off the hook, didn't see it coming, loved it, would love to do it again, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it was just great to me. I mean, the whole thing was just mind-blowing. I never thought, I figured when I get old, you wouldn't do certain things, but I know I'm still young and everything. However, it was just surprising that, I was really a part of this. I would never really, being honest, never thought that at this point in my life that I would have been part of a reality show, especially the way we see things today. Amazing.
Well, let me just ask you a question. What encouraged you? What pushed you to be a part of the reality show as well as the training that you received?
It's funny because it's like we have a relationship. Delatoro learned from Dr. Willie Jolly, who happens to be my mentor also. And I heard about Delatoro a lot, but I had never met him until maybe 3 years prior to that mansion experience. So when I met him, it was totally by chance. So I think it was destined to be, and just the thing, I'm in this business because of Les Brown. I got good at this business because of Dr. Jolly. I've gotten better in this business because of Del Toro McNeil. So, I mean, to me, it was just a natural thing, a natural course of events and a natural direction that I would be involved in, and, you know, just gravitated to take action and to just enhance what I, you know, where I want to go and what I want to do and who I want to become.
Well, and that is exciting. So
Yes.
Many of you all know Les Brown, the top motivational speaker in the world. Willie
Absolutely.
Jolly, he is number one on XM radio. So, Sir Charles, give us a little bit about how you connected with these particular individuals.
Well, before any of this is happening for me, I used to do network marketing, and I saw Les Brown. I think I was in either North Carolina or somewhere like that, and he was the keynote speaker. And when I saw him, it hit me. I could do this. Besides, I was at a point in my life, in my career, that I wanted to really be emotionally involved in what I was doing. So when I saw Les Brown, I said to myself, I'm going to change my direction. I'm going to go in a direction where I'm going to do something that really means a lot to me. And I was all excited. I went home. I did nothing.
Really?
Nothing. 3 months to 6 months later, we went to another convention. Guess who was the keynote speaker? It was Les Brown. And that was it. It was like, okay, you didn't see him twice in a row for nothing. This must be a sign for you to actually take action. And I did. I started learning what it takes to become a motivational speaker. What do you do? You know, what are the steps? How do you get involved? And that was the beginning of my career as a speaker. And just to think that was about maybe 12 years ago. And now today I'm a national trainer, speaker, and author. So I owe it all to the greats, Dr. Jolly, Les Brown, absolutely, yes.
So what made you, so you have been with Dr. Jolly, you have been with Les Brown. What made you come to the mansion and be with Del Toro McNeil and be a part of his training?
Well, I met Del Toro at another venue. He was doing a training in DC. And I really wasn't sure if he was Del Toro McNeil, because I was saying to myself, wow, this guy looks familiar. And I started asking my other classmates, what's the name of our instructor? And a couple of them weren't sure. And then one person said, oh, his name was Del Toro. I said, McNeil? They said, yeah. And when they said that, I was like, wow. So after the class, he told me, he said, listen, I've got a conference coming up. You need to be there. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about all that. He called me. He said, listen, man, the conference is in September. Are you coming? I was like, I don't know. I said, he said, look, just check it out, and I'm sure you'll get a kick out of it. I'm sure you'll love it. And I decided to do it. You know, it was my first time going to Tampa, you know, and I went to the conference, and it was really great. It was fantastic. Top-notch speakers, presenters, trainers, and I was just blown away. So I knew that I wanted to go back the next year before he even made the announcement. However, at the end of the conference, he made a pitch about this mansion experience. And I was thinking, you know, I don't know, you know, and then I thought about it and I thought about it, and I got the information, you know, and I slept on it, and he called me again after the conference was over. And after the conference was over, you know, I just made a decision. Look, you want to do this, you're going to be learning from someone that's out there killing it. Go ahead and do it. Get that training under your belt. Get this experience. Let it catapult your career to another level. And that's exactly what it did. Yeah.
Awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I see that Angela Bullock, who is a friend of mine, she has joined.
Okay.
Thank you, Angela, for joining. And I'm talking here to Sir Charles Carey.
Hey,
so, So, Sir Charles, tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, my personal story, wow, I'm a New Yorker, and I learned everything the hard way. In fact, I was so good at learning the hard way, I furthered my education from going to the School of Hard Knocks. I went on and furthered my education by going to Brooks University. I mean, I really learned the hard way. And when it was all said and done, I was a 25-year drug addict. And I never thought that that would be my story, because I was always the quiet kid, the good kid, never making any waves. But that was my realization. That was my truth. And when I finally got myself together, it was because of my children. God convicted me through the eyes of my children. And I made that 180-degree shift. And when I made that shift, everything just literally changed, as it should, but there were more obstacles, more hurdles, and I'm talking about cancer. I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. So most people, drugs, cancer, anything like that, it would just throw them right back in that same lifestyle. But I was very fortunate because my faith is strong, and I knew that there was more destined for my life. And I, allowed myself to be drawn to that gift, the gift that God puts in all of us, and I'm not trying to preach to anyone, but it's the truth. I knew that there was more for me, and God has blessed me by allowing me to tap into the gifts, skills, talents, and abilities that are there already. I just had a chance to nurture them so that I can become the person that stands before you today.
Well, that's an awesome, awesome story. And so, since you were part of the initial cast, first of all, I want to welcome Ian Murray for joining. I see we have Ali joined, and we're going to thank you for joining too, Ali. And we are excited about you joining us. And it's interesting, Sir Charles, because, thank you. It's interesting, Sir Charles, because I was like, when I initially, scheduled this broadcast, I said, okay, 9 p.m. on Thursday.
Right.
Well, I didn't realize that this Thursday was the season opener of Scandal.
Oh, really?
Angela Bullock, yes, Scandal. So I was kind of like, oh my goodness. But you know what? And I am a Scandal fan, but I'm taping it because this is more important to me.
Absolutely.
And I felt like there were people that would join in because they felt a calling to the idea of public speaking. So, sure. Sir Charles, I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about your journey in public speaking.
Well, I was one of those kids that always asks questions. Why this? How do you know? Did you see it? How this? Why this? The who, what, when, where, whys. I was always full of questions. And I think what really led me to speaking was the fact that my family is from the entertainment industry. Gospel, R&B, all that kind of stuff. And for a very long time, I thought that my calling would be in music and that I would be a international singing sensation because the majority of my life was singing and music. I mean, I've sang with groups, with bands, track dates, in church, secular. I mean, I pretty much have done it, nationwide and somewhat out of the country as well. However, when the second bout with cancer, when I had that second bout with cancer, I started to rethink my priorities. And I was doing everything. Actually, I was singing, I was doing poetry, I was acting, I was editing, writing music. I mean, literally all the high level entertainment type of activities, I was really a part of them. And Dr. Jolly told me, he said, listen, you're doing all these things. He said, you need to just tell your story. You know, he said, just tell your story. So I wrote my second book, which is called Courage Facing Mortality. Cancer wasn't my only obstacle. And that book became an Amazon bestseller. And
awesome.
It goes to show you that when you focus your energy or you focus your time, that a lot can come out of it because there are less distractions and there's more potency and more focus on that given thing versus spreading yourself wide across many different areas. And, so I started learning, I just really started learning all the nuances of speaking. I started with Toastmasters to get more structure in my life. Eventually I became a member of the National Speakers Association. And then I started doing engagements for nonprofits, private companies, churches. I mean, you name it, I was willing to do it. So, and as I said, you think about that was about 12 or so years ago. And even though I was speaking before formally doing it, and it's been about 17 years overall, but formally doing it for the past 12, 13 years, now I am grateful that I can say that I'm a national trainer, speaker, and author. So it's been a challenge.
Awesome.
Yes.
I see that another one of our cast members, Bernadette, has joined in. At Bernadette,
go on, join in, Bernie.
Do me a favor and try and get in the seat. I hope I can unlock it and let you in. Because we would love to hear from you too. We're so glad that you joined. I am excited. I'm just absolutely excited.
This is my first blab. My very first blab.
Come on, Charles. This is your first blab. Well, I will tell you this. Click on Join Plus if you haven't seen how. Click on, thank you, Dynamic. Thank you, Dynamic.
I don't know how nothing is happening. I have
been on Blab a little bit. And so I do know a little bit about it. But
what does Join Plus do?
Join Plus will allow people to join in. And I'm not sure that I locked the seat.
It says on my side, open seat. I can see it says open on my side.
Oh, Ian Murray. Thank you. Okay.
Oh,
You're
there's
here,
another one.
Ian Murray.
That's okay. Hi, guys.
Hi, Ian. How are you?
It's my sound. It's just playing up for a second. Yay. Hi, guys.
Great.
All right. How's it going, Ian?
Open. That's wonderful. Bernadette, if you can join in, there's another open seat, which would be great. So, Ian, thank you for joining us. Let me just ask you a question, Ian. What made you come to our blab tonight?
Okay. Well, I'm in Australia for a start. So for me, it's nearly lunchtime. Just had to check the time. It's nearly lunchtime.
Oh, okay.
On Blab, you lose track of time. So I was just
Blab,
browsing.
you do lose track of time.
So on Blab, I was just browsing what people were doing. And obviously it's nighttime there. So there's a bit more of a casual market out there at the moment. And I saw the heading, which says the reality show, The Keynote, which I'd heard of somewhere in the back of my brain, but not known anything about. So that's why I came in, particularly since I have a strong interest in public speaking.
Oh,
awesome, Ian. Well, first I'm gonna let Charles talk a little bit about the first season. He was part of the first season. I was part of the second season. So one thing I will tell you, Ian, and I will post this in the group, is I will encourage you to go to the KEYNOTEmovement.com.
Yep.
And like our Facebook page.
No worries.
And yes. And
you'll find all the cast members there, as well as our executive producer, Delatoro McNeil II. And you get a lot of tidbits about the show and the coming of the show as well.
So, Charles, do you want to, so Ian, let me just give you a little bit. I'll just give you a little bit, and Charles will. Oh, go ahead.
That's cool. Just quickly, the reason I hopped in, I'd love to participate, but I also was just trying to help Mini Rita find her way. Bernadette, because obviously you know how to accept people now, clearly.
Yes.
And the open seats there. Can we get Bernadette in? Because she was, I think, keen. And if she wants to come in, let's help her get in first.
Yeah.
Open. I see open seat. Yeah. So yes. What happens?
So you see open seat. So do I. She should see a little square with join plus in the middle of that box. She should click on that, and then Regina can accept her just like she accepted you and me.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you do that, Bernie? Can you hit that little square in the middle of the box in the middle of the square?
Let's see.
And then that'll bring you into the group.
Yeah, that would be great.
It all works best on Chrome. If you're using a different browser, you may have some issues, but Chrome works.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, Chrome does work best, Ian. You're absolutely right.
Okay, she's not responding at the moment, so
yeah. Okay. So while we're waiting for Bernadette, we'll give you a little bit. Sir Charles, you go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'll just say this: that first season was a fantastic opportunity to get involved. I didn't know what I was really stepping into, but myself and 8 other professionals from different industries, all around the country actually, came together and we decided to participate. And we were in a mansion in Tampa, Florida. And when you get there, it's really exciting because it's just like reality shows you see on television, where people are coming in with all this luggage, and you have to find your room. And I don't want to tell too much, but everyone's name was on their room, on their door. So you walk in and you look and you see this big, gigantic room with all this space and all the amenities. It was really, really an eye opener, and it just great. And then you turn around and there's a camera right there in your face, So
yes.
It was truly exciting. It was an exciting experience because it was compact. You learned the business of the business as well as you're put to the test. And, without getting into too much details, because I don't want to create a spoiler alert for you, because I think everyone is really going to enjoy a real, true-to-life reality show without the nonsense. The nonsense. It's something, Ian, I think that when you see it, you're going to be able to relate to it, even if you didn't have an interest in public speaking, simply because it's realistic. These are people, these are real people, as we say, real people, real stories. And, it was just a wonderful experience. All the things we learned behind the scenes and all the things we did when we weren't in learn mode. So I really had a great time, and the relationships that we created, man, I love those guys. I think it was a wonderful relationship building opportunity as well. And, had no idea, because Regina and I, we worked some of the events prior to the actual show, and had no idea that she would be in the second season.
There's Bernadette. Okay.
Hey, Bernie, we see you. We see you trying to come in. Hit that circle in the middle of the square.
She's coming.
Okay, great. But yeah, it was really a fantastic opportunity, a fantastic time. I don't know. I just can't wait till everyone else gets to experience what we went through. And Bernadette's coming. Maybe she can chime in and share some things about what she experienced as well.
When does it When does it go to air?
So actually, let me just give you a little bit about it. So basically, we taped 2 seasons, and the reality is no network television would pick it up. You know why? Because it wasn't ratchet enough, it wasn't dirty enough, there was no scandal. And so the executive producer has decided, Delatoro McNeil has decided that we're going to take this to the internet.
Yeah.
And so we are raising funds. We're doing a crowdfunding campaign to raise funds to take this to the internet, because positive reality programming should be aired.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and too many times positive reality programming is not aired. You know, people want to see the dirt, the scandal, all things that are going on. And let me just say this. Public speaking is the #1 fear of people in America. So therefore, we're going to shift the paradigm. We're going to shift the paradigm in terms of how we do it. And it's interesting because, and I will say to you, and I see Bernadette, she's going to probably try and jump back in. She was probably having some trouble. But one of the things that I will say to you, I'm an ordained minister, so I do speak. I speak all the time. But knowing the ins and outs of public speaking is a whole different ballgame. And I learned so much, because I would think, oh, I know everything there is to know, but being there, being at the mansion, I learned so much. So, Sir Charles, I'm going to let you chime in there.
Yeah. I think a lot of times we don't realize, we think that it's natural to speak, which it is, but when you attach business to speaking, there are different components, nuances that make it enjoyable, pleasurable, and they make it truly more effective from a business perspective. And those were some of the things that we did behind the scenes. I tell you, the environment was just wonderful to be in Tampa. Although the year that I went, I must admit, they had 30 degrees cooler than it normally is, but it was still a fantastic opportunity to be in that mansion and learning from the 32nd top speaker in the world. This guy's got lots of energy. And again, I don't want to bring too much up front, but I know that people will be able to appreciate it, one, because drama is everywhere. And being honest with you, if you see some of these reality shows on television now, you know that people don't necessarily interact like that unless, how would you say it? Their negative behavior was promoted. And most people, if it's real, if you're really trying to learn something, do something that makes a difference, a lot of that type of drama is not necessary. I understand that it's good for ratings, but when you're thinking about public speaking, again, as Regina said, that's the world's #1 fear, only second to death. Only second to death. So when you learn how to challenge yourself, take some of these nuances and put them into action, whether it's, it doesn't have to be for business. It could be in your job, which is business, but not as a speaker, but it could be in your civic association. It could be your place of worship. The point is, there's so much that you can learn and benefit from techniques about public speaking. And some of us, we don't really know. We don't know what you don't know, you know. So it was great to learn, again, different techniques. How do you warm up a crowd? How do you do an event? You know, how do you get people to get comfortable? How do you get yourself comfortable before an engagement? All things like this were things that, you know, we learned and then some. But again, I think one of the most rewarding parts or points of the show for me was the relationships, you know, because usually when there's a competition, you know, you want it to be, well, you think that people are going to be, you know, dog eat dog and, you know, all about themselves. And sure, you want to win and you want to, you know, be the best. However, if you can do that with style, with class, with tact, with respect, I think that takes it to a whole nother level. That's true. And I know we were able to do that. And I think it could be business television, it could be family television. I mean, it could be anything you want, because when it turned out, it's all good, literally, all good.
Yeah, I was talking to some people yesterday. It was just a small group on Blab who were ladies in small businesses, you know, solopreneur, mumpreneur type style. And I am in the speaking game to some extent, and they were talking, and I said, well, one of the things that you will learn on Blab is that everybody that's here is actually speaking. And they went, no, we're not speakers, we're not technical speakers, but you need to learn how to manage an audience, especially if you're the host, and if you want to get a message to them.
Yep.
So that's the trick for Keynote, I think, is bringing it down to the right level. It's not speakers who want to do Keynote. It's actually, there's a huge gap in the market around people living who need to influence more people.
Right.
And that's when the market.
I teach public speaking for certain government agencies, and coming from the reality show, there are different things that I learned that I can now incorporate in that teaching when I do those engagements, as well as I do my own independent workshops, and I have an audio program about public speaking, which I will revamp, and I will probably include some of the teachings in that new workshop and training that I will be doing, and probably in my second follow-up audio program, The Cure for Public Speaking, Are You Afraid of the Crowd? So that's coming out. It's already, the audio program is already made. It's just a point of setting up some of the some workshops. I'm going to do some virtual workshops, as well as I'll continue to do some workshops in government as well. So I'm telling you, you know, like you say, you're already speaking. It's just learn to do it a little better, do it with a strategy, and strategize that according to what your industry is, whether it's fitness, whether it's business, multi-level marketing. Just strategize according, and it'll just make you a better presenter, more confident. It adds tons of credibility to you from a professional perspective.
That's true.
Yes. Let me ask you this, Regina.
Go ahead.
What were, I know you can't say it so much, what were some of your takeaways or some of the high points that you experienced from season 2?
For me,
yes,
particularly, that I think one of the things for me is that I didn't know what I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know everything. I have the gift of speaking extemporaneously. So which is why I love Blab, right? I love Blab. I love Periscope, because I'm like, okay, at the drop of the hat, I can speak. But to understand the qualities of speaking, the power of speaking, and speaking in different ways was powerful for me. One of the things for me, particularly, is I already project, as you all probably can see in this video, right? Right?
Okay.
Ian's like shaking his head. He's like, yes, we can hear you. I project. But what I learned is in a public speaking session or in a keynote session, I have to learn to ebb and flow with those tones. And that was something that was difficult for me because I have always been taught about projecting. So, so that was something that was really, really real for me.
Now, what about your experience with some of the other cast members from season 2? How did that flow? How was it? What kind of experience was that?
With what? Say that again.
The other cast members from season 2.
Oh, well, and it was interesting because in season 2 we were a smaller cast, and so we really had to bond together, but yet and still we were all competing for that keynote.
Sure.
And what was interesting, without giving too much, I won the first round.
Okay.
So, and what I felt is I felt a little bit of tension, like, oh, who does she think she is? But, but all in all, I have always, the persons that I was in season 2 with, as well as the persons in season 1, we have developed a bond that is unbreakable. Is absolutely unbreakable. I have connected with them in ways that you wouldn't even imagine. So, yep.
That's fantastic. So I imagine next week, every week, well, for the past couple of weeks, we've spoken about collaboration.
Yes.
And this week, I think we were focusing on, the importance of having a dream.
Right.
Next week, we'll be blabbing as well. And hopefully we'll grab some more cast members on as you post this today's blab and share it with the group and share it with the whole social media family. Hopefully they'll see the value in blab, because like I said, this is my very first one, and I think I kind of like this more than Periscope, although it's very similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian, let me just ask you, because I have experimented with Periscope, but Blab seems to be where I dwell. I mean, I just love I just love Blab. Now, one of the things that I will tell you as a result of coming out of the keynote and the training, I am a radio show host, so I do interviews on a regular basis. So, and this is part of my dream. So when we talk about dreams, when we talk about where we're supposed to be, just to give you a little bit of history, I am a single mother of 2 children. My daughter is 12, my son is 8. And many times people will tell you, oh, you're a single mom, you need to, focus on work, focus on your kids, all that kind of stuff. I refuse to give up on my dream. And my dream is that I would be speaking and encouraging and empowering others. So that is what I did. I spent a week in the mansion in Tampa, Florida, because I knew that this was inside of me. So, I just tell people all the time, you can live your dreams. Your dreams can be realized. and I am living my dreams. When I was growing up, Oprah Winfrey lived around the corner from me, right? And I always admired her. And I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be Oprah Winfrey, or I want to be Oprah Winfrey. I want to be like Oprah Winfrey, because I enjoy talking to people and getting information from people, finding out about people. I enjoy people. I'm an extrovert. That's who I am. Angela Bullock, I know you will attest to that. So, anyway, those are some of the things that I realized.
Okay.
You know, but Ian, jump in if you have any questions.
I think we have people, season 1, we have people from Texas, some from Florida. Where else? Oh my goodness, I'm thinking. Texas, Florida, DC.
Yeah.
And I can't think of all the other states or the cities. What about when you were there, season 2? How far range were the
Florida,
different, you know?
Texas, DC, Maryland.
Right.
And yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at the actual conference, the Full Throttle conference, but people are from all over the country, as well as I think certain parts of the world, outside of the United States as well. So, yeah, it's a real eye-opener. So, any questions that you may have, Ian, on anything, or anyone in the group? If you want to post in the chat, if you want to post questions, we'll answer your questions as best as possible. So if you throw a question in the chat, or Ian, if you got a question, we'd love to answer any questions as much as we can.
Yeah.
See, Eagles Wings said thank you, because I put the video, the trailer, one of the trailers that's on YouTube, in the chat.
Yes.
You're welcome, Eagle Wings 1. Any questions?
So Ian, you're in Australia.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about Australia. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay, I'll do 2 or 3 things. I was just telling Little Bird about what we were up to while you were asking for questions just then.
Great.
So I've just put in the hashtag and that website in that tweet. Others should do similarly. Just to get back a couple of steps, so Charles, I think, was asking around Periscope and Blab. I'll do a quick commentary on that, and then we'll talk about my story a little bit. Yes, and Regina, you're commenting as well. Periscope and Blab are both a bit new, and you're right. Periscope is very different to Blab. Blab, a quote I saw yesterday was a fantastic one. It said that Periscope was for presentation, Blab is for communication.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Right, and there's a whole sense of community here that Periscope doesn't quite achieve. Sure, you get a following. Sure, you can have a dialogue, but it's not a conversation that's very two-way. So, Blab, you've got your 4 boxes here, and the community here builds very strongly. And even in the chat box, there's like a second tier of communication that's happening that works really well. You know, we can have that dialogue with both the faces as well as the text in the chat box. So this is great for your interview style, you know, the Oprah style. This is the chat of friends on a couch having a conversation. Yeah. And
absolutely.
So it's quite sticky compared to Periscope. People will hang around and you'll build a stronger relationship, or, for example, another show next week. That's a good thing in Blab. You can do the same in Periscope. People do set up a pattern and you can get notifications, but it's immediate and shorter term. But they both have a place. Periscope's probably better for that sell, whereas Blab's about the conversation. I
so agree.
Moving on to Australia and where I'm at. I'm in Melbourne in Australia, so down in the southeast of Australia. And Australia's a big country with not so many people. And we have a bit of this isolation syndrome. So what's interesting is that I look at who's blabbing at the moment, and it's very US oriented, numbers of people, time zone, and so on. And in the daytime in Australia, from here on, it will get quite quiet. And that's interesting from an Australian that plays an international market. I can actually work in my night times with the US in its daytime. So that creates a whole interesting dynamic for marketers, even in America, who don't think often of my blab is at 2 p.m. Eastern. Well, what's that in Australia? What's that in New Zealand? What's that in Singapore? There's a whole market that people aren't thinking about when they start working online and globally. So I often have provided little tips to people about how to solve that problem. And they go, wow, I hadn't thought of that. And it's that isolation syndrome that gives us a different view on how things can be and how things work. As for me, I've had 25 years working in technology. So coming to Blab is easy for me. It's a no-brainer in terms of technology. But about 5 years ago, I began, through a retrenchment scenario, decided let's get out of this corporate stuff and start playing with smaller businesses. Take some of those learnings out. And that's where I learned really that most business owners have problems growing a business. And my realization was I'd been doing Toastmasters as a hobby for 25 years, coaching hundreds of people on how to do that. So most people only stay for 18 months. But I love the give back side so much and have developed so much, I guess, in that time that I've stayed with it. National speakers here is a bit snobby, dare I say it. And Toastmasters works really well for a different market. So where I'm at is getting those business owners speaking. And that could be as simple as being on a blab. It could be as simple as doing their videos on their website. I've actually got an internet marketer at the moment who's getting review from me on how to do his marketing video better. And that sort of stuff is the game way below keynote presentations. It's just talking about what you do to many. And doing it remotely is actually a new reality, right?
Yeah. But I think you probably be a natural end if you weren't interested in taking your speaking game to another level, or just, speaking more often to other business professionals. I think you would be fine.
Hold on 1 second, Sir Charles. Do you have earpieces? Do you have earpieces?
I do.
Because
do I need them?
I just hear a little bit of feedback.
What about now?
No, it's good.
Okay. But I was gonna say, I think Ian would probably be a natural if he decided to speak more often and possibly even on larger platforms. I mean, it's always great to get more skilled, more training, because regardless of where I am and how long I've been speaking, just 24 hours ago, I was in an audience with, I don't know, maybe a couple thousand people, still looking for nuggets from people that speak internationally and nationally, as I do, but still, because there's always a perspective that I may not have considered, or that I didn't look at the same, or if I've seen it, maybe now I'm really more open-minded to it. So, I don't mind constantly evolving.
Yeah. And by all,
I'm sure
I would play there a bit more too. I just got to build my story up and make sure that I have the right package to sell. And
gotcha.
Part of that is how do I, after all, I'm in business. I need to find a model that works really well business-wise. And for me, potentially, because I have a 7-year-old boy, one of the challenges will be how do you balance that? Like, a speaker's life is often a traveling life, especially in a remote country.
Yes, it is.
I tell you this.
It's that trade-off.
A speaker's life, regardless of what level, can be a very lonely life. Because to be a speaker and to be a good speaker or a competent speaker, to have a solid message, sometimes you just have things naturally, but to really have it on lock, and I'm not saying you can't have a social life, but the mindset, it's almost like when I was in music, when I was singing and performing, an artist, we're very temperamental people, and, you have to nail down your craft. You have to be so good. You have to know that you know that you know what you're going to do, what your inflections are going to be. When will you hit the high note? Will you transition from a natural voice to a falsetto voice? You know, will you just engage the crowd and let them sing the chorus with you? Are you going to dance? If you're winded, you have to know everything that embodies you as that focal point, because all eyes are on you. So you have to know your craft. And no matter how good I may be, how good I think I am, no matter how good people may even tell me that I am, I have to constantly be in learn mode, study mode, humble, But you have to love it. Don't do it if you don't love it. I always tell people.
So Sir Charles and Ian, I see that Impact 08, thank you for joining. She asked a question, do you schedule your own speaking engagements? And so let me say this first, just in logistics. Yes, thank you, Dynamic Speaking. Use the /Q space to ask a question, because then the question flows up in the thread. But so I'm gonna go to, yes, exactly. Thank you. I'm gonna go to Sir Charles. Do you schedule your own speaking engagements? That's a good question.
I do. I have my daughter. She's working with me. She looks for engagements for me, as well as I look for my own. I'm constantly on the grind. I'm constantly speaking to people, managers, supervisors, business owners, looking for an opportunity. In fact, just yesterday when we were at the Warner Theater in Washington, D.C., I went to Starbucks to get a cup of coffee, and I saw one of the managers, a manager there at that Starbucks, and I've known him for a while, but I never got an opportunity to do a training or a workshop for his team. He used to work at Audubon Payne, and I guess it was kind of difficult. So when I saw him at Starbucks, he told me, "Oh yeah, I'd love for you to come in and do something for my team." So he gave me his number, and I have to call him to set something up. So I'm constantly looking, asking, probing, listening for the needs that people have, so that I can try to be a good fit. And then there are times also that I put on my own events. Maybe I think this year I must have did about 4 events on my own. A part of the Cure Tour. I've got this book called Radiate the Brain and Change the Game. That's my most recent book, and it has been hot. And as a result of that, I've done a tour. Since last year, I've been going on a tour. I think I've hit about 8 or 9 cities and states. But my point is, I do my own events. I do events by request, and you just got to stay active. You got to stay ready.
So, Ian, do you have a come on in, Impact 08. Absolutely.
Yeah, in my case, I do most of my stuff happens to be workshop based. How do you, for example, how do you present to a team? Do you, as a business owner, sometimes I do schedule some where I get them in a room and do a training session, but for the most part, it's by inquiries, and we schedule based on an agreement rather than me having to fill the room. That's just the stage I'm at. But that's probably the next thing, is to get those events planned, really have the showcase ready, and fill a room with 50 people and see how that goes. But really, right now, I'm seeing a great opportunity in playing in the online space, and scheduling an event's as easy as starting a blab, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, listen.
I mean, Ian, I'm telling you, this blab community and the Periscope community is a whole nother space. And it's interesting because I am a co-author in a book, which is an Amazon #1 bestseller.
Cool.
And so there's 24 authors, and we are going to begin to do a book club online. And it's interesting.
A book blab?
A book. Well, it's interesting because the head of the social media wants to do it in Google Hangout. And I challenged her and I said, let's do Blab. And she was like, well, Blab is blah, blah, blah. I said, she was like, oh, Blab is in beta and Blab is in this and that. I said, but you can download Blab. You can download Blab to YouTube. You can download the audio. So as long as you're recording, so it won't be lost, no matter what. So, and I love this space because it didn't take me a whole lot of, how can I describe it? It didn't take a whole lot of training to figure out how to do Blab. And that's the difference to me. Yeah,
I fully agree. I would do Blab. The open access is really good. The low barrier to entry. It's the easiest platform from a connecting in standpoint. Yes. Sure, there's a network bandwidth problem for some folk, but in America, the cities of Australia, other places, it's getting there. So I'd really look at that.
Yeah, look at Ian. We would have never connected with you across the waters if we didn't have Blab. You know what I mean? Because a Google Hangout, you have to basically invite people to.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? For the most part.
There is a way in to do broader stuff, but it's clunky. And frankly, Blab's overtaking Hangouts already.
Right. Well, I'm excited. So let me just tell you all, I have another Blab at 10 o'clock. Would you believe it? So,
busy lady.
I know, busy lady. But so I am just excited that we had this time to hang out together. And we will be back on next week. Ian, if you are ever doing a Blab, please invite me. Cool. Because I would love to connect with you. And the next Blab, Angela, the next Blab, we're going to do it next week. I'm very sure. And we're probably going to do it at the same time.
Sounds good.
I hope you all will join us next week.
Cool. I follow all of you guys. You follow me, and let's catch up on Blab.
Yes, I absolutely am following you. Thank you very much. No, at 10, Angela, I don't know. We'll see. I'll see if I can do it at 10. I know why you're saying that. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Ian.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.
All right.